September 1st, 1997, 6:47 a.m. Kensington Palace. Less than 24 hours after Princess Diana's death in Paris, a team of palace officials moved through her private apartments like ghosts in the morning light. They weren't there to mourn, they were there to find and destroy evidence. Hidden in Diana's private safe were dozens of audio cassettes labeled with dates, names, and one chilling word: insurance. For 6 years, Diana had been secretly recording conversations, phone calls, and private meetings, creating an audio diary that could expose the royal family's darkest secrets. What the palace found on those tapes was so explosive that every single recording was destroyed within hours. But what they didn't know was that Diana had made copies. But what nobody knows is what Diana actually recorded and how close those tapes came to bringing down the entire monarchy. The decision to record, January 1991, the beginning. Diana's decision to start recording conversations didn't happen overnight. It began after a particularly brutal confrontation with the palace about her growing independence. Your Royal Highness, Sir Robert Fellows, the Queen's private secretary, had told her coldly, "Your recent behavior is unacceptable. The charitable causes you're supporting, the way you're speaking to the press, it needs to stop." "I'm helping people," Diana replied. "Isn't that what royalty is supposed to do? You're helping yourself to publicity. There's a difference." When Diana tried to defend herself, Sir Robert cut her off. "Princess, if you continue this path, we will have no choice but to take action." "What kind of action?" "The kind that would be unfortunate for everyone involved." That night, Diana called her friend James Colthurst, a doctor who had become one of her closest confidants. "James, I need your help with something. Something that might sound paranoid." "What is it?" "I want to start recording my conversations with the palace. Not all of them, but the important ones. The threatening ones." "Diana, that's necessary. They're planning something, James. I can feel it, and when they move against me, I want evidence of what they've done." James helped Diana acquire a small, professional-quality recording device that could be hidden in her handbag or clothing. But wait, you haven't seen what Diana recorded in her very first tape. The first recording, February 3rd, 1991, the warning. Diana's first secret recording was of a phone conversation with Charles, after news of their marital problems had leaked to the press. Tape transcript: Charles and Diana. "Charles, Diana, this has to stop. The stories in the papers, the speculation about our marriage." "Diana, I haven't spoken to any journalists, Charles." "Charles, perhaps not directly, but your behavior speaks loudly enough. Your public appearances, your body language." "Diana, my body language." "Charles, you look miserable whenever we're together. The photographers notice these things." "Diana, maybe I look miserable because I am miserable." "Charles, then perhaps you should consider what's best for the monarchy." "Diana, what does that mean?" "Charles, what hodion? For their own good, and the good of the institution." "Are you threatening me?" "Charles, I'm giving you advice. Take it." When Diana played back this recording, she realized Charles had essentially threatened her with forced retirement from royal duties. This was her first piece of evidence. Hold up, Diana's recording of the Queen was even more shocking. The Queen's ultimatum, March 15, 1991, tape nub 007, the royal command. Diana's most dangerous recording was of a private audience with Queen Elizabeth II at Buckingham Palace. Diana had hidden a small recorder in her handbag. Tape transcript: The Queen and Diana. "Queen, Diana, sit down. We need to discuss your future." "Diana, Your Majesty." "Queen, your marriage to Charles is clearly in trouble. This is affecting the stability of the crown." "Diana, Mom, I'm trying to make the marriage work." "Queen, are you? Because from where I sit, you seem to be sabotaging it deliberately." "Diana, I would never." "Queen, the AIDS work, the landmine campaign, the hospital visits. You're deliberately choosing controversial causes to upstage Charles." "Diana, I'm helping people who need help." "Queen, you're helping yourself to a platform you haven't earned. You married into this family, Diana. You are not born to it." "Diana, what are you saying?" "Queen, I'm saying that if you cannot fulfill your role properly, we will find someone who can. Find someone who can." "Queen, Charles needs a wife who supports him, not one who competes with him. If you cannot be that wife, then perhaps it's time to consider other arrangements." This recording was explosive. The Queen had essentially told Diana she was replaceable. Don't miss this detail: what Diana recorded about Camilla. The Camilla conspiracy, June 8, 1991, tape 91-8. The Other Woman. Diana's most damaging recording captured a conversation between Charles and his private secretary about managing the Camilla situation. Diana had hidden a recording device in Charles's study at Highgrove, after suspecting he was planning something. Tape transcript. Charles and his private secretary. Private secretary. Sir, the situation with Mrs. Parker Bowles is becoming difficult to manage. Charles, how so? Private secretary. Diana is becoming suspicious. She's asking questions, following you. Charles, what kind of questions? Private secretary. About your schedule, your meetings. She knows you're not where you say you are. Charles, then we need to be more careful. Private secretary. Or we need to consider more permanent solutions. Charles, what do you mean? Private secretary. Diana is becoming a problem that won't resolve itself. Perhaps it's time to discuss alternatives. Charles, what kind of alternatives? Private secretary. The kind that would ensure she can no longer interfere with your relationship with Mrs. Parker Bowles. Charles, I see. And these alternatives would be, private secretary. Best not discussed over the phone, sir. This recording suggested that Charles and his staff were actively plotting against Diana. This is where everything gets absolutely devastating. Diana's recording of the divorce plot. The divorce conspiracy. September 12, 1991. The setup. Diana's most chilling recording captured a meeting between senior palace officials planning her downfall. She had hidden a recording device in the conference room before a meeting she wasn't supposed to know about. Tape transcript. Palace officials meeting. Voice 1. Sir Robert Fellows. The Diana situation has reached a critical point. Voice 2. What are our options? Fellows. Divorce is inevitable, but it needs to be on our terms. Voice 3. What do you mean? Fellows. We need Diana to appear unstable, unreliable, so when the divorce happens, public sympathy will be with Charles. Voice 2. How do we accomplish that? Fellows. We leak stories about her emotional state, her demands, her unreasonable behavior. We make her the villain, and if she fights back, fellows, she won't have a platform. We control access to the press, to her staff, to her resources. She'll be isolated. Voice 2. What about her popularity with the public? Fellows. Popularity is fragile. With the right narrative, we can turn public opinion against her. This recording proved the palace was orchestrating a campaign to destroy Diana's reputation. But you're not ready for what Diana recorded about her sons, the children, as weapons. November 7, 1991. Tape Tumdu. The ultimate threat. Diana's most heartbreaking recording captured a conversation about using William and Harry against her. Tape transcript. Charles and palace advisor. Advisor. Sir, if Diana continues to be difficult, we may need to consider custody arrangements. Charles. What do you mean? Advisor. Full custody of the princes. Diana would have limited access. Charles. On what grounds? Advisor. Emotional instability. We have documentation of her struggles with depression, her eating disorder, her erratic behavior. Charles. That seems extreme. Advisor. Extreme situations require extreme measures. Diana's influence on the boys is concerning. They're becoming too attached to her emotional style. Charles. William is the future king. He needs to understand duty, not emotion. Charles. And you think removing them from her would solve this? Advisor. I think limiting her influence would be beneficial for everyone. This recording revealed that the palace was willing to separate Diana from her children to control her. You're not going to believe what Diana recorded about the press manipulation, the media conspiracy. February 14, 1992. Tape Nil 41. Controlling the narrative. Diana captured a conversation that exposed how the palace manipulated media coverage. Tape transcript. Palace press secretary and journalist. Press secretary. We need to shift the narrative about the Wales marriage. Journalist. What angle are you looking for? Press secretary. Diana as the problem. Charles as the victim. Journalist. That's going to be hard to sell. Diana is very popular. Press secretary. Not if we give you the right stories. Diana's demands for expensive clothing. Her interference with Charles's schedule, her jealousy of his friendships. Journalist. Is any of that true? Press secretary. Truth is subjective. What matters is the story. Journalist. And what do we get in return? Press secretary. Exclusive access to Charles. Advance notice of royal announcements. Background briefings. Journalist. And if we don't cooperate? Press secretary. Then you get nothing. No access. No stories, no cooperation. This recording proved the palace was bribing journalists to write negative stories about Diana. Don't miss this shocking revelation. Diana's recording of the assassination discussion. The darkest recording. May 3, 1992. Tape 048. The final solution. Diana's most terrifying recording captured a conversation that would haunt her for the rest of her life. Tape transcript. 2 unidentified voices. Voice 1. The Diana problem isn't resolving itself. Voice 2. Divorce proceedings will take years. She'll use that time to cause more damage. Voice 2. Historically, there have been precedents for removing inconvenient royals. Voice 1. You're talking about ensuring the stability of the crown. Sometimes that requires difficult decisions. That would be extremely risky. Voice 2. Riskier than allowing Diana to continue damaging the monarchy. How would such a thing be accomplished? Accidents happen, especially to people who live dangerously. Voice 1. And if there's an investigation, investigations can be controlled, evidence can be managed. This recording terrified Diana so much that she made multiple copies and hid them in different locations. Here's where Diana made her crucial decision: the insurance policy. June 1992, Diana's master plan. After recording nearly 50 hours of incriminating conversations, Diana realized she had enough evidence to bring down the entire royal family, but she also knew this made her extremely dangerous to them. Diana met with her lawyer, Victor Mishcon, in secret. "Victor, I need you to hold something for me. Consider it insurance." "What kind of insurance?" Diana handed him a sealed package. Inside are copies of audio recordings, conversations between senior royals, palace officials, and others. "If anything happens to me, anything at all, I want these recordings released to the press." "Diana, what's on these tapes?" "Everything. Proof that they've been plotting against me from the beginning. Proof that they're willing to do anything to get rid of me." "Including what?" Diana looked him directly in the eyes. "Including murder." Victor was shocked. "Diana, you can't be serious." "Victor, I've recorded them discussing it. They think I'm a threat to the monarchy that needs to be eliminated." "Then why don't you release the recordings now?" "Because I want to try to save my marriage first. These tapes are my protection. As long as they know I have them, they won't dare touch me." Diana was wrong. But wait, you haven't seen what happened to the tapes after Diana's death. The destruction. September 1st, 1997, 6:47 a.m., Kensington Palace. Within hours of Diana's death being announced, a team led by Sir Robert Fellows descended on Kensington Palace. "We need to secure all of Princess Diana's personal papers," Fellows announced to Diana's staff. "Sir, perhaps we should wait for Prince William and Prince Harry," Diana's private secretary began. "This cannot wait. There may be sensitive documents that could damage the royal family if they became public." The team found Diana's safe and forced it open. Inside were 52 audio cassettes, each labeled with dates and cryptic notes. "My God," one official whispered. "She recorded everything." Fellows picked up one tape labeled May 3, 1992, Final Solution. "What should we do with these, sir?" "Destroy them. All of them. Immediately. Shouldn't we listen to them first?" "Absolutely not. These tapes represent a clear threat to the crown. They must be destroyed without review." Within 3 hours, every tape found in Diana's safe had been incinerated, but Fellows had made a crucial error. He assumed all the tapes were in one location. The final revelation: what the palace didn't find. The surviving evidence, September 2, 1997, various locations. What the palace didn't know was that Diana had hidden copies of her most damaging recordings in multiple locations. A safety deposit box under a false name. With her lawyer Victor Mishcon. With journalist Martin Bashir. With her friend James Colthurst. At her gym in a hidden locker. Over the following weeks, palace officials tracked down and destroyed most of these copies through threats, bribes, and legal pressure. Victor Mishcon was visited by MI5 agents, who requested he surrender any materials Diana had left with him. Martin Bashir was offered an exclusive interview with Prince Charles in exchange for any Diana materials. James Colthurst was threatened with prosecution under the Official Secrets Act, but they never found them all. Some of Diana's recordings remain hidden, waiting to be discovered. Her voice captured on magnetic tape, telling the truth about the royal family's darkest secrets. The truth: Diana's secret recordings contained enough evidence to destroy the British monarchy. They proved systematic harassment, media manipulation, custody threats, and discussions of physical harm. The palace's immediate destruction of these tapes after Diana's death wasn't grief management, it was damage control. They knew exactly what Diana had recorded, because they were the ones she recorded. But Diana's greatest victory was that her recordings served their purpose. As long as the palace knew she had them, they couldn't act against her directly. The tapes may have been destroyed, but their existence protected Diana for 6 years. They bought her time to tell her story in other ways, through the Morton book, the Panorama interview, and her own actions. Diana's voice may have been silenced, but her truth survived. Sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't the one you use, it's the one your enemies know you have.